Okay, and we are starting round two here. Josh won the die roll. He decides to play. We're gonna keep this. Pretty pretty straightforward curve. Wayfinder. Into CDC into Giant into Mauler. The plan is not to morph the Mauler unless we have to, because it's extremely difficult for Josh to deal with without us morphing it, and very easy for him to kill a random morph. All right, we're gonna not mulligan and see what he leads on. Okay, fetch land. Caryatid was a very good draw because of Sidisi. Going to play the swamp because if I draw like a basic forest, I'll play that instead of one of these pain lands. Okay. Josh fetches. Another mountain. Interesting. Maybe he's a little, whoops. Maybe he's a little color screwed. Because he didn't play a tap land on either of the first two turns. Or maybe he just has pain lands and basics. But if he had a pain land, I don't think there's a reason he... Okay. Reasonable. So this looks like Outburst. Good. Gives us a chance to get our Sidisi online without worrying about a lightning strike. Blue, colorless, green. And hopefully get a zombie. Good, we get a trigger. Dumping Sidisi and Doomwake Giant, which will be good if we ever draw one of the two whips left in our deck. But now we have, we're in a fairly good spot with some value. If we draw an untapped land, Doomwake Giant can kill the Goblin token. Excuse me. Doomwake Giant can kill the Goblin tokens. Oh man. I'm gonna go ahead and take 4. The zombie's gonna trade with the Rabble Master anyways, not the So I don't know. Chain of the Rocks, Lightning Strike, and Sorin. I'm not actually that worried about any of these. The exception of maybe the Chained. I can keep Lightning Strike and Sorin. But the reason that I did that was because if we're talking about next turn, I want to take the land that doesn't deal me damage. If we're talking about next turn, Chained and Strike are basically interchangeable, except that Chained costs 1 less mana. And if we're talking about in the future, okay, Butcher would have been a really scary top deck, but looks like didn't have it. If we're talking in the future, strike is sorry. One if we're talking in the future, strike doesn't kill Doomwake Giant. Sorry about that. I was trying to follow what's going on in the game and talking and anyways. That's yeah. So by discarding the Chained, I leave Josh without an out to the Doomwake Giant, unless he rips one. Alright, so blocks. Well, Carrion is clearly blocking a 2-1. Zombie's clearly blocking the 1-1, because neither of those die. I think I want to trade my Wayfinder off, simply because I'm dead to double Lightning Strike if I don't. But that might be dumb. I'll keep the Wayfinder back. I might need it to block. Okay, Murderous Cut is sweet. I'm just going to attack Soren with both of my creatures. And if Josh blocks with the Rabblemaster on the Cedar Wayfinder, the Doomwake Giant trigger will kill it, so he has to be careful. Yeah, no blocks. That was pretty obvious. Alright, so Giant cleared off all the goblin tokens, and we're in a pretty good spot. Just have to be careful of burn here, but otherwise I should be really fine in a very good position. I'm pretty much forced to Murderous Cut that flyer, the vampire, or risk dying to Lightning Strike next turn. Makes me glad that I held it and didn't fire it off last turn. Leave all the creatures in the yard. Okay. So again, pretty good position, especially with the Sagu Mauler. I'm going to send just the Giant in. If I send the Giant in, Lightning Strike trades with it. Lets the Seeker trade with it. But I'm fine with that because it means the burn isn't coming at me. So we'll just swing like that. Alright. Josh takes it because he doesn't have he doesn't have to really block or get the Doomwake Giant off the table soon. If I draw another Doomwake Giant, that'll be bad for him, but I think he's trying to draw burn before I do that, or like a Butcher. Hordeling Outburst is not a problem right now, although it could be problematic in the future. Alright, I'll just block like that. So Josh doesn't have burn. He might have a Sarkhan, but not the 5th land to cast it, which is the most likely thing. Although, yeah, that's the most likely given his play over the past few turns. So he has a Sarkhan, but not the mana to cast it. Which case, I definitely want to hold up Downfall. So I'm going to cast this Sagu Mauler face down. And I can always flip it face up next turn. Okay. And then I'm going to attack with just the Mauler. We're completely fine on blocks even if Josh has another land, but all right. That's easy. Just kill most of the goblins, and we're good to go. I have to do a little bit of math, but untap, flip that face up. That's 12. I think Josh is dead. If I downfall the Rabblemaster here. Oops. Blue. Flip it up. Attack with everyone. And no matter what he has, if he has a removal spell for the Doomwake Giant, he still has to chump with the Seeker. Or he just has 2 Sarkhans and he's dead. Okay. Well, let's go to sideboarding. If MTGO lets us, that is. Okay. I definitely want Reclamation Sage and Charms to answer cards like Chain to the Rocks. Charm also hits Rabblmasters. I like Disdainful Strokes as a way to interact with cards like End Hostilities, which Josh might be bringing in. I'm not a huge fan of Ashiok's. Actually, I don't think that they hit. I don't think that its hit rate is large enough for it to be a threat that Josh has to spend time, interacting with. Spend a substantial amount of time, anyways. So we'll leave those out this time. I like the 4th whip. I like the Thought Seizes, but maybe that's incorrect. On the draw, though, they're my only way to get rid of a Rabblemaster before it resolves. So I would rather keep them in for that reason. Courser's good, Charm's good, Wayfinder we can cut like one or two of them maybe. Sagu Mauler's good, Soul of Innistrad is excellent, Doom Lake Giant's good. Maybe the cut is Hornet Queen because we know Josh is going to have board wipes, especially Anger of the Gods. It's 3 slots. If we're bringing in Sultai Charms, we can probably cut a Murderous Cut. Shave Murderous Cut or two. And maybe we don't quite need this 4th whip, or I'll cut a Wayfinder actually. I think having the 4th whip is really good. Having more ways to gain card advantage. And also the life gain can be very crucial on the draw if we're racing. This hand is fine. We have some ramp. We have Sidisi to fuel our whip and to get us ahead on board. We have whip to pull ahead in the late game, and Murderous Cut to interact with anything Josh plays. So this is actually a great hand. If one of these Caryatids were a Courser or a 3rd land, that would be excellent. But okay. You can get behind a Wayfinder. It's a pretty solid draw. Oh, and another land. Excellent. I'm going to play the Caryatid. Then next turn, if I have to kill something, like if Josh plays a Rabble Master, I can play the Wayfinder, dump 3 cards in the yard, and then Murderous Cut it. Okay. So he Crackling Doomed us, which is fine. Let's see. Not sure there's a big difference between casting Satyr Wayfinder and Sylvan Caryatid, because I get to cast CDC or Whip next turn. Except if I cast Wayfinder, I can hold up Murderous Cut, which could be important. So let's do that. See what we reveal. Okay, Forest, that's fine. One argument for casting Caryatid there was that the Wayfinder might be useful later to trigger Sidisi, but I don't think that will happen. If we untap with Sidisi, then we're in really good shape anyways, so. Thoughtseize, yeah, takes the whip, of course. Josh doesn't have a land. So the question is, do we jam Sidisi and hope he doesn't have a removal spell? Or do we play the Temple and the Caryatid and try to find another threat? I like playing the Temple and the Caryatid here. We're not under any pressure. So we can go ahead and set up for the late game. Doom Lake Giant is excellent. We can go ahead and get set up for the late game. Keep Murderous Cut up. Get in there for 1. You know, running Sidisi into a Lightning Strike seems like a horrible idea. Giant is a bit harder to interact with. We'll tap the carry in case of something like an Anger of the Gods, which would be bad anyways, but it's probably irrelevant. I'm just hedging against any possible outcome where the carry dies and I need to cast Murderous Cut. Okay, now I'm basically forced to run the Sidisi out there. It's not good. If Josh has any removal spell where we might be in a little bit of trouble once he hits more land drops, unless our Sidisi reveals something like Soul of Innistrad. Oh, interesting. He didn't have the removal spell, but we didn't flip over a creature. I'm guessing he has Anger. Okay, Chain of the Rocks is fine. If we draw another Sultai Charm or our Reclamation Sage, we're in very good shape there. Hero's Downfall, not awful. It will probably buy us a turn or part of a turn, but it's not excellent. We just want more threats. We need more ways to apply pressure. Okay. Sure. I will cut that for full price. It'll make our next cut cheaper. Ooh, Disdainful Stroke. That's a sweet draw. But again, it's much better to be buying time when we have a board than buying time in an attempt to look for a board. So, Butcher's fine. I'll downfall that. Let's save the stroke for like a Planeswalker or something, which is harder to cleanly answer with downfall. Okay. So DC has been triggered. That's good. Now Disdainful Stroke buys us a lot more time than it would have previously. Oh man. This is excellent. Pretty sure we're going to get there. We haven't found a Soul of Innistrad yet, but another Sidisi? Okay. That's actually not bad. It's essentially insurance against another Wrath. Alright, well, we miss on the zombie, but that's fine. Josh goes down to 4. Guessing he has another Wrath in hand. Alright. I have inevitability to a certain extent in this game because Josh has 0 pressure, and eventually I'll just turn Soul of Innistrad over. This is assuming that he can deal with my already anemic board, which might be a little difficult. 2 lightning strikes on my attacking creatures, which means that Sidisi does not get struck, and I get a token. Jeez. I think striking the zombie was correct, but striking the Wayfinder was probably not. This is Sarkhan? Yeah. Has to -3 to kill Sidisi. So I'll go ahead and loot here with the charm. Actually, no. What am I saying? I can destroy Chain to the Rocks. The Sarkhan's irrelevant. We'll attack Josh. I mean, it's not purely irrelevant, but there's no combination of cards Josh can have that lets him deal us 12 to the face. So. Is this a Sorin? Okay. So in this case, killing Sarkhan would have been good. I didn't think about Sorin. That was an oversight on my part. But if Sidisi gets a zombie, we still win. And if not, we can kill Sarkhan. So okay. Let's check to see if the coast is clear. This will tell us where our attacks are going. Okay. Everything at Josh, and that's lethal. All right. So that is the match. Pretty solid 2-0 there because Josh just didn't end up drawing what he needed in time. He got mana screwed for a few turns each of the games and struggled to really close the first one. And then the second one, I got too much of a board and was able to counter a critical end hostilities. Forced him to use his removal on small guys and set up another, Resolve Sidisi. Alright, so stick around, and round 3 will be in shortly.